One of the most frustrating things about the PC Master Race, of which I am a card-carrying member, is the sheer amount of launchers you have to have in order to play some of your favorite games. Bethesda.net launcher, which we'll be talking about here in a second. Steam, Epic Games Launcher, EA, Battle.net, Uplay, Xbox, GOG Galaxy, Origin, and there are more. I don't have them all. It's a lot. Thankfully, we're getting rid of one of the lame duck ones, which is the Bethesda launcher, which came out a couple of years ago, and it just never really seemed to take off. As with a lot of these game companies, what they do is they release a launcher, and that's the exclusive way to get their game. Sometimes you'll have a game that launches across multiple launchers, like it'll be on Steam and on the Epic Games Store or on the Xbox Game Pass Store app and Steam, something like that, right? When Bethesda got bought out by Xbox, I think we all just kind of assumed that everything would migrate into the Xbox launcher. A lot of the games are currently available on Steam already, but that's what I thought they were going to do. So this doesn't come as a huge surprise to me that Xbox is probably kind of forcing Bethesda to cut some of their costs. And the Bethesda.net launcher will be sunsetting on April 13th, 2022. I'm sorry, starting on April 27th. This blog post was updated today, April 13th. You can start migrating everything over. It's a very detailed blog post. It basically goes through all the wonderful things of Bethesda. And I have to give these guys credit, and I love Bethesda games. It is just, I adore them so much. They're basically, we've gone through and thought of most every possible contingency for every kind of situation you have to make sure your data is not lost should you choose to continue playing games ported over on Steam, and what the processes are to do so. The only unique one is Fallout 76, which has a massive, massive, massive fact just for itself to kind of talk through that one, because that's kind of their only real active game subscription service outside of Elder Scrolls Online, which has successfully made the jump to consoles and Steam many, many, many moons ago, which, you know, honestly, now that I think about it, Fallout 76 has too, so I'm not really actually sure why they have their own special attention for that game, but they've thought of it all. Frequently asked questions go into a lot of detail, talking about how you can access your games through a certain date. A lot of the games will still rely on this back-end Bethesda.net account, which is something that I'm not super excited about. Basically, a lot of these games have a launcher embedded within a launcher. A lot of times you'll open a game on Steam, and it will instead open a secondary launcher. And then you got to log into that one. A lot of the Ubisoft games are notorious for this. So it looks like Bethesda.net is still going to exist in terms of the gatekeeper, in terms of your content. You're still going to have a Bethesda.net account. You can see here I am, good old Viper Magic. That is the code. That is my account that has access to all my digital games. So as long as I can access this account, I'll have to marry it over to Steam, of course, but I'll be able to download all the titles that I have. This includes skins, mods, DLC, credits, anything like that. So that is going to stay. I was kind of hoping they would kind of delete all that. To me, the more services you have running concurrently in the background, the worse it is. And not just from a game performance perspective, but just from a kind of simplification. Like, we just want to log into one thing, Steam, and everything should be there. It's not, unfortunately, and Bethesda's not going to make it much easier for us anytime soon. There's also a great way to transfer over all of your save files. It talks you through that and how to do manual copies and make sure you don't lose any of your saves. This is important for people like me who have played Skyrim for 8 billion hours and just don't want to lose our tried and true characters and have, run through games before and just don't want to lose anything. If you're playing an online game like Elder Scrolls Online, which I was addicted to for a very, very long time, or Fallout 76, you're not going to have to worry about that because everything's saved on their database. There's really not a whole lot downloaded to your computer locally. You have to be online to play. So those particular situations, not so much of a concern. Talks about virtual currency that you have, which I am actually kind of surprised, believe it or not, as I was reading through this the other day. Well, Rage tokens, I guess, kind of makes sense, although Rage 2 kind of died quickly. I enjoyed it. I think I'm one of the few people actually enjoyed it. Not for the story. The story made absolutely no sense. Just the sheer action. It was a very fluid, dynamic, gory shooter. I liked it. So I guess in that sense, I'm kind of surprised I had tokens for that. But the Wolfenstein Youngblood Gold was something I've never heard of. It doesn't surprise me, honestly, that every game now has some sort of microtransaction or some sort of microcurrency associated with it, whether it's Fortnite dollars or Halo bucks or, insert game of your choice here, gold, right? But I was just surprised to see. I was like, man, I remember my wife and I played Wolfenstein Youngblood, did not like it. Kind of dumped it very early on, but I guess they have a store where you can use your gold, but fear not, your wallet will transfer over by going through their patented process. Unfortunately, and this isn't much of a surprise, you will not be able to migrate your account onto any other thing other than Steam. You're not going to be able to transfer any sort of data over to your PlayStation network or to the Xbox network, which is kind of humorous, honestly. The fact that you think that Xbox now owns Bethesda, you would think that this would be a really cool little incentive. Hey guys, we know you've kind of had a lot of PC games, but even though pretty much the entire library of all Xbox games is now readily available, or Bethesda games is readily available on Xbox Game Pass, wouldn't it be really cool if we could just bring those over to your consoles? Kind of a cool little bonus, just showing off the cool synergies between Xbox and Bethesda. Yeah, that's not going to happen, unfortunately. So if you are locked into the PC side of things, that is where you shall remain. And okay with that, I guess. I just thought that'd be kind of a neat thing. They talk about your friends list, which was interesting, that your friends list will actually be merged. So any friends you've acquired along the way in the Bethesda launcher, again, just like every other launcher that has its own set of friend lists. I cannot tell you how many times I have friended ye old silver bullet Kevin, my man, on pretty much every single launcher. I got to look this dude up and add him because the Bethesda launcher has different friends than the Ubisoft launcher, than the Xbox Game Pass launcher, than So thankfully, that's one less thing I'll have to do. It sounds like they're all going to just dump into my Steam's friends list, which I am perfectly fine with. And I think that's really, really cool as well. And yeah, it just kind of goes through everything. You can download everything through Steam. And I think when this is all said and done, honestly, this is going to be a better solution. Steam is a much faster, more secure, better, just more robust network than Bethesda was. The download speeds are faster, the reliability is faster, the transparency is more readily apparent. It's the right thing to do. I am surprised, though, as I close out this video, we didn't see more of an integration into the Xbox launcher. Remember, Phil Spencer a couple of years ago made a major push, very, very public statement discussing how disappointed he was on the PC side of things and how they were going to really revamp and revitalize the Xbox launcher, which I have to say it's better than it was, but by no means nearly as robust as anything else. I'm kind of surprised that they're not trying to force people into that, and honestly, in a good way, honestly, considering I prefer Steam much more than the Xbox launcher, but I'm just kind of surprised. I feel like there's a lot of synergies here. So maybe the takeaway here is that the Xbox and Bethesda acquisition isn't as streamlined as we thought. Maybe there's a lot more back-end redundancy that still needs to be worked out. It'll be interesting to see as games come out in the future, how optimized they are for Steam or for the Xbox Game Store versus console. I think that'll be an interesting discussion to have later on. But for now, we say goodbye to one of the worst launchers, despite the fact I love the content. Farewell, Bethesda.net launcher. You will not be missed. That wraps up today's video. I will post a link to this blog in the description below if you want to read through the facts. I'll put the the Fallout launcher one in there as well if you are one of the 5 people that still play Fallout 76 and you want to see how to do that. I'll post all those links below, so go ahead and check those out if you're curious. That's it. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.